Well, welcome everybody to our online program on addiction and recovery from the Sunshine Coast Health Center up here in Powell River, BC. And we've been talking about different ways of making sense of the addiction. Based on this article that came out in the Huffington Post, where the writer made the case that the real cause of addiction is not so much the effect of the drug on the person as it is the environment. And that if the environment were a caring environment, or if a person could feel free to be himself or herself, then addiction probably wouldn't be a big issue. Okay? And this is a new idea in the field. And it seems to contradict the older idea that really, the problem of addiction is, and the cause of addiction is the effect of the drug on a person's brain. And these two very different approaches now are actually very powerful in the field. As I mentioned, the idea of the environment, this is now growing and more research is coming out of it. And the traditional idea that it's the effects of the drug on the brain, this is consistently being the focus of a lot of research. And both of them seem to offer us important things to understand about addiction. But here's something that's really kind of curious, is that in both of those cases, they've actually kind of forgot about the addict. On the one hand, if you believe it's the environment, then it's a matter of, well, like the poor little addict, he doesn't have a choice. He's going to be pushed and pulled and swayed by whatever's going on around him or her. And on the other hand, if it's brain chemistry, then really the addict is at the victim of the brain and really has no choice and no power. So in both these cases, kind of interesting that they're both sort of the outsider's view, and they really don't pay much attention to the insider and what people with addictions actually have told us in great detail. As you all know, one of my research projects was on the Nobel Prize-winning alcoholic playwright, Eugene O'Neill. And he had some very strong and clear opinions on why he drank so much, where alcoholism came from. In fact, he spent most of his career writing about these ideas, and at a very deep, profound level. And we've got other people like the famous Charles Baudelaire, who wrote about drugs. So we've got a lot of very thoughtful people who had lots of experience with addiction, who told us what it was like to be addicted, why they used drugs, what the benefits were from drugs, as well as all the hell they went through. And this is an important part, I think, of what we can learn about what an addiction is. So now we've got like these three different views. So we've got the view in the Huffington Post, which says its environment is the determining factor. We've got this view, the traditional scientific view, that it's the effects of the drugs on the brain. It actually becomes a disease, addiction. And then this third view, the insider's view, and what people with addictions actually have told us about why they use drugs. And typically, Eugene O'Neill is an example. It was very clear. He said, I got drunk because I never felt a sense of belonging in the world, except when I was drinking. So these three views now we have, and each of them are important. And it's actually important, to make sure that we pay attention to each of the views. And maybe we'll be back next time, and we'll take a look at how we might be able to combine all these views.